Here we go. Podcast time. Andrew Thomas is in the house. I'm here. He's back from a little bit of a sojourn in the United States of America. He's got lots to share. We're talking tech. Here we go. Tech Talk time. Coming to you from the Zoom sphere. What do you think of that? That's not bad.
Nice intro. I like it. A lot of energy. Loving the backdrop as well. You got some sort of graffiti thing going on, right?
Yeah, you like that? See, it works. It just all works, right?
Yeah, perfect. It's bang on. How you been? You good?
Yeah, you know what? I'm doing okay. Interesting things I've been reading in the news, and I threw some stuff in our notes, and two names that jumped out at me, not because of what they're doing. And I just went, HTC, the phone guys, we used to always talk about them. They were out there. They were, where did he go?
It's one of the things I was going to talk about, actually. So it's my battery.
Oh, no. He's gone.
Jesus. My Mac battery is misbehaving. So
clearly. Well, hey, look, I have to keep mine plugged in all the time, or 5 minutes it's gone.
Yeah, well, I don't get any warning, right? So it was on 52%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've got the same problem. Mine will say 80%, you're doing fine, and then you're right in the middle of something that's gone.
Very weird. I had one warning light. Sorry, go on. We can carry on, and then I'll talk about it on the show.
You want to start again?
Yeah, let's kick it off again.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. Podcast time. It is Podaholics and Tech Talk with Andrew Thomas from digitalnexus.com. My name's James Pikeway. And if there are things to solve in this world about technology, Andrew, who is back from the United States, he's been just, being a little bit of a vagabond. He's going to share with us what he's learned, what we need to know, and along the way, we might solve a few problems as well. Andrew, welcome back. It's great to see you. And battery okay?
Yeah, I don't know what the story is there. It's interesting, the warning light on my battery. So what happens is the battery just dumps, and you come up with a warning, and it says, important battery message: the battery's capacity is significantly reduced. Like, no shit. Like, I mean, it just drops.
At least you get a warning. I don't get any warning when my Mac does that. I
didn't get a warning. This was after it dumped on me. So
okay.
Yeah, the first time it happened was the other week. Just while I was kind of in a Zoom meeting, and it was nothing. It was just kind of like, and I don't know. It's going to have to go in for a service by the look of it. So a bit frustrating, but I don't know what they can do with batteries. I guess they just replace them, right?
If that's what it is, just put a new battery in it, and hopefully it's not something to do with the charging. Who knows? It's
yeah. No, it still seems to be charging. So, but it gets to, I guess, like no capacity. I noticed it when I was traveling. So when I was traveling, obviously pulling out the laptop and kind of working away, you don't typically have to plug in. And, it was my very own electronic egg timer. It's just kind of like this.
And that's the thing. We get so used to being able to work with our batteries. That's a big sales point of laptops and tablets and things is, you're going to get, 25 hours. You can go 2 days without a charge. And as soon as that ends and you need to plug in, panic sets in, because it's like, well, hold on, what's going on? The old school way, the old tower computer that we used to have with an extension cord, we're back to that in some cases. It's
exactly, yeah. Yeah, the day, I guess the days of remote work are gone.
Well, there's I want to go back to where we kicked off when we were just having a discussion before our batteries died. Is HTC and Texas Instruments were both in the news recently, and not for bad reasons, but it was interesting because Texas Instruments, the calculator people and other things, who when I think of Texas Instruments, I think grade 10 math and my Texas Instruments calculator. And when I think of HTC, I think of those great unibody aluminum phones that used to be sold. And now I don't see much of their stuff around at all. I'm sure it's there somewhere. And they were back in the news for a VR system that they're working on that looks really cool. And I just thought, oh, HTC. I haven't heard from them in a long time. So it's interesting how some of these things, come and go.
Yeah. So I think HTC have been our news feed has been dominated by Huawei, right? I think
Yeah.
HTC kind of got not taken away, but some of the limelight got pulled away from HTC because they were definitely the ones that were leading the Android charge, weren't they? Back in the day, and yeah, I guess they're still around. I mean, it's I think if you remember, they started to fall behind on the camera. You remember that?
Yes.
The kind of the camera was pretty tame. I think that's the word I'd use, and because of that, people just kind of started turning. Oh well, we started talking about it because obviously that camera piece is such a crucial part of I guess any life now. I mean, interestingly, I thought of you because while I was away, I was up in Denver, and there was some phenomenal kind of scenery. And I was like, I kind of thought, oh, I wish I had a kind of decent camera to capture this, and actually I have. Right, it's iPhone 12, and it was pretty breathtaking. Because I remember you saying previously when you used to travel with all of these cameras, and then it's just like, no, I've just got one now. That's it. I'm good. And interestingly, I'm not sure if it's running here, but in the States, the only ad I saw for iPhone 13 was with this, like, I don't know, not another word, but like a handle or a gimbal.
Yeah.
And it was all people using the iPhone to film, like adverts, mini movies. Like that was it. It was just, there was nothing else advertising around iPhone 13 except for its capability of filming.
Well, look, I've got my phone. This is my only device that I'm using to film Podaholics when we're at the Rove. It's the only thing I'm using to film Creative Mornings. I've got a tripod. I've got a cage that I use, and it's made for phones. I can put my microphones on top. I can put lighting on it.
Yeah.
I'm getting. It's all a matter of knowing how to use your device. As long as you know how to use your device. The sort of the proof in the pudding was I was sitting there filming the last Creative Mornings with my phone, and I just lined it up, and then I got into the scene with the speaker. Another gentleman was filming with a Nikon, and he had a couple Sennheiser mics. I had the Rode mic going into my phone, so we got lavs. And he was going, "You got better sound than me." and the best part, and I think this is the key one that people forget, especially when we're using your Canons, your Nikons, and other things. A lot of these ones, and you would know it from Nexo with your team, the memory cards only hold so much, and there comes a point either where they have to swap out the battery or swap out the memory card. My phone, I can go for a couple hours full charge, and I never have to swap out the memory card. So I get a constant, and I kind of went, well, this really works. Why? Exactly. And you download it. I got my 7 gigs of video. I got my audio coming in as well. I'm thinking that's all you need. And I run it through, I run my stuff through Adobe Premiere, do all the, the fixing and the fiddling around, and no one knows the difference. And you carry it around in your pocket. I think these things now, telephone calls, maybe, photography and video. And
what do you think? What do you think about like a gimbal or something like that? Are you looking at investing in that, or you don't do enough kind of road work to worry about that?
At this moment, it's not my thing. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. But a tripod, absolutely. I think that for me has proven to be invaluable. But I see the gimbals and I think they're really cool. But I'm not really doing that stuff yet. So we'll see. Right. We'll see. Never seen.
No. Yeah, it's interesting. I just I found my GoPro recently, and kind of some of the footage on that, and that's still like I do like the GoPros. I think that's kind of, if I wanted a secondary device, I feel like that's kind of like, because it still offers something a bit different. It is from a perspective POV with the head mount and the stick mount and stuff. I think they've still got some value, but I guess it's all just personal choice, right? But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, some phenomenal photos, some kind of panoramic stuff, video, all all kind of pretty much working, really well together, and they've made it so easy now. I mean, a novice like me completely. I mean, color grade and correction and things like that. I'm clueless when it comes to that. Excuse me. But the iPhone just kind of takes care of it. It's like, oh, hey, listen, you look to be in low light. Do you want us to add this? Yeah, okay, go for it. Like, I don't know. But it's interesting. I think it's kind of it is quite fascinating that with this, and along with a whole host of other tools at the moment, you're kind of being handheld down the path of kind of traditionally very difficult scenarios, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously, started to edit my other I did the growth show podcast, and that was literally, on the back of, I think, a 5-minute tutorial with you, right? So yeah, you had the music in here, you do this, and oh, okay, cool, this is good, and you drag here and you drop here, and then you're done. So it's interesting how things are becoming more accessible, right?
Absolutely, and it really, once you get started, it really is a technology drug, because you can then, multi-track record, you can go in and correct each track, you can, once you get into, and I know they do it with GarageBand, but not to the same extent that you can do it with Adobe Audition or other tools, other professional grade tools. Then you got a bunch of plugins. So now suddenly you can go and change a whole bunch of things. And at the end of that process, you're listening to the product that you brought in, and you're listening to what you've done with some edits and some plugins. And it's like, wow, I mean, this is incredible. And the challenge is, because I play in that world, when I don't do all those things, I listen to it and go, yeah, it's really good, but I want to spend the extra 20 minutes doing the other things because it's even better. How much time do you have? And someone says, well, how long is it going to take to do something? How much time do you have? Like, how far do you want to go? Because it's going to consume you.
I mean, and I wonder, I mean, obviously you put in the notes about some of the iPhone 13 and they're going to cut production or something, I guess.
Well, it's chips. It's the same old story. They're having trouble getting chips, and that's where the Texas Instruments came into the equation, because they're chip makers. And I kind of went, oh yeah, never thought of that, but yeah, of course. So they're talking. They were talking. Apple was saying they were going to be putting out, I think, 90 million pieces, and they might have to cut 10 million units out of the deal.
I wonder, because I saw this time, it seemed as though people were queuing up again, right? I mean, I saw, I wondered why that happened, because I don't think that was pretty much for the iPhone 11 or some of the recent stuff. And when I was in the States, they were doing pre-orders for my famous watch, obviously. But I think it's...
And did it make the heart flutter? Did you go, I've got to get it?
Exactly. I definitely need one of those. But yeah, it seems as though I don't know, that rush was definitely around for the iPhone 13. And even here in Dubai, right, it was back to back in the mall there. So I think it'd be interesting to see how what kind of gets launched next, and if people are just as excited. I mean, that chip shortage is interesting. I think you've touched upon it in Car Talk, right?
Well, we touched upon it again. Glenn was telling me, and I think he was saying it was Skoda. They're closing. They're one of the car companies, and I'm pretty sure it was Skoda. I should remember this. We just recorded that episode. 3 months they're closing down all operations to catch up with the chip stuff, but and also, I guess, eat through any inventory they have. But that means the whole operation is closing down. 3 months.
I'd heard that the price of, like, it was something crazy. Like, they were talking about a Mustang or something, and it was more expensive to buy an old Mustang than a new Mustang at the moment, just because of just chip shortage, right? It's starting to affect. I mean, I think the thing is, obviously, when kind of COVID hit and everything, you see it as an immediate effect, but it has an effect a year, 2 years down the line, right? Because a lot of this production is already rolled out, and if you start to kind of pull that back, so it'll be interesting to see how tech gets affected over the next, I'd say, year, and see what's been delayed. And I think the thing is that tech typically, kind of keeps quiet about certain things. So I wonder how delayed some of these things are going to be. I mean, I'm looking forward to GITEX, obviously next week here. That's that huge, tech show and IT kind of driven conference, and it's back, in its physical presence. So I'm looking forward to going there and kind of seeing some of the new stuff that kind of brings itself, because that's usually a good place to get your hands on some tech, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun to see what's coming up from there, for sure.
Perhaps we could do a little show from there. That might be good to do a tech talk from GITEX.
That might be a great idea.
Yeah, grab a seat at a coffee shop if you can. I mean, that's that's what's always fascinating about the GITEX is people there to see a conference, and yet you can't get a seat anywhere for a coffee.
Yeah, oh no, for sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and who knows where things are going. What else did you jump in with in the US? What else caught your mind? So the iPhone 13, people are jumping on that, gimbaling, film. That's the big push. The camera. What else?
Yeah, it was interesting. I think obviously it was a pretty hectic trip, but still had time to kind of boogie down to Best Buy and see those guys and see what they have on offer and kind of all new electronics. I think that what's dominating the shelves at the moment seems to be just the fitness trackers.
Okay.
So interestingly enough, like the Fitbits, there was a whole host of range of Fitbits I'd never seen. So Fitbits, yeah. So you've got, but aimed at kids.
Right.
So they had like Star Wars ones, Disney ones. I guess the thing is what we and we've spoken about this before. Sometimes we lack the range here, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just economically not viable to bring the whole kind of gambit here. But that's what was interesting. So a lot of fitness trackers. So seeing that, and then also seeing Garmin. So a buddy of mine I was with took me to a store called REI, which is a bit like Bass Pro Shop, but for dudes that are heavy hiking, skiing, all this kind of stuff. I don't know if you got REI in Canada, but there was a couple of things in there that was quite interesting. So the tech there saves your life. So it was the Garmin that he's got, for example, he pays a monthly subscription where he's basically got like a panic button. So if he gets kind of stranded, it's kind of hit the button and it monitors your activity, and if you're not moving and all this kind of stuff, it just kind of triggers this alert, and then obviously the company will alert the authorities and hey, listen, this dude's not moving, or he's injured, or whatever the case may be. And it was interesting how the tech that was there was about enhancing your experience. So for example, there was he showed me a whole bunch of apps that he uses for hiking and trailing and snow runs and all this kind of stuff, but then also how there's a lot of tech that effectively helps you save your life. So it was quite interesting how a different side of tech, because I'd never really come across that, right? I mean, we live in such a kind of paradise or bubble here at the moment that you don't really think about things like that. The tech is for fun. It's not. I don't know how often we use. I guess there's people like your Fitbit that you've got on, or there's people that will use tech and the apps for cycling and stuff like that. But this was kind of on another level,
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. So we're starting to see a little bit of diversity in the tech world, particular audiences.
Yeah, we're just not exposed to it, right? You and I have spoken about this a lot, that from an app perspective, a few years ago, apps specifically kind of decided they didn't have to be everything for everybody.
Right.
And they can be super specific, right? Well, I'm going to do this one thing for this bit of tech for this particular audience. And I guess, depending on where you live in the world, there's probably a surfer app, right? That kind of tells you when to catch a wave and stuff like that, right? Or
high tide, low tide, man. It's out there.
Exactly, right. So I guess there's a whole host of these things, here, and just like someone's come up with the idea of Cafu here, where you get petrol delivered and gas delivered to your house because it's seen as a challenge or something that people would use. I guess there's a whole bunch of other apps. So I think it's always interesting when you kind of get exposed to some of that new new terminology and new tech that you're not familiar with. But obviously, I mean, this Garmin that he wears every day is is there to kind of protect him and save his life, basically, right? It's not just about telling time and things like that, right?
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Man, this has been a lightning catch up, Andrew.
That's it. Lightning round of quiz.
Lightning round. I'm looking forward to doing it all again real soon. It's been fun. Andrew Thomas, digitalnexa.com. I'm James Pikeway. This is Tech Talk on Podaholics.